Vehicles and electric vehicle charging infrastructure. This deputation, the first one, will be particularly focused on small vehicles. I'd like to commend the Cabinet for wanting to be bold in its aspirations of having the most comprehensive electric vehicle charging network outside London, as Councillor Mathers has previously stated. I note that this is started with the 17 installations of rapid chargers, and while this is welcome, I strongly urge the Council to check what has been installed so far. Most of the charge points are not operational, so I won't address the reliability of the charge points. However, in my mind, at least two of these, the junction of Southgate and Kirkgate in Huddersfield and New Street in Slough, have been poorly installed in terms of their positioning and will cause problems not only for those charging up but also for users of the spaces surrounding them. Due to the time, I won't go into the details, but I'm happy to talk to the officers who are relevant for this. My point is that if we carry on installing large volumes of charge points poorly, then the impact will not aid the uptake of electric vehicles, Kirklees as a destination, or the Council's reputation, and may have a negative effect on the very challenging emissions targets and improvement in air quality. The Council's commitment to new battery-only electric vehicles and hybrids is understandable and welcome. However, I would like to have clarification on what types of hybrid the Council are purchasing, as not all so-called hybrids are as effective and efficient at saving emissions as they may appear. And what messages would it send from the members if we're not doing the best we can? For instance, is the mayoral car a BEV, battery-only vehicle, or even a plug-in hybrid? There is certainly a real concern that non-plug-in hybrids are greenwash and do not deliver the benefits that are being portrayed by the manufacturers. I know the Advertising Standards Agency has been contacted on many occasions about misleading the public on this. Given the aspirations and drive to increase the charging infrastructure, if Kirklees Council don't buy BEV or FEV, it may send a message to Kirklees residents and others that Kirklees Council don't have the confidence in plug-in vehicles. This would be unfortunate. Please, can policy be made transparent to the public on this? We would suggest that the Council should only purchase plug-in vehicles unless it is not possible to do so, and this should be transparent. Does the policy have a hierarchy of powertrains, starting with BEV, then to FEV, then to non-plug-in hybrids, and then only then to internal combustion engines? I appreciate this is not something that can be answered in full now. However, if you could write to me and possibly share it in the Council's website, that would be very helpful for the public to understand. I also commend the bold moves to expand the parking permit scheme, and as an electric vehicle user, very much welcome it. Given the discussion above, are the Council going to have a clear policy on which type of hybrid can gain free or subsidised car parking permits? Hopefully it will not include non-plug-in hybrids. It would be ironic if the parking permit scheme was ridiculed because it supported non-plug-in hybrids when the Cabinet have openly said they have aspirations to lead on plug-in infrastructure. In a similar way, apart from the electric charge points, what policies are going to move taxis away from ICE and non-plug-in hybrids for the full battery ones? Has the Council looked at the excellent work Nottingham Council have done, working with the taxi companies to persuade the drivers to go to BEV. It was inspirational. We need to act decisively and quickly if the emissions target is to be met. Okay, thanks for listening to that one. I'm just going to go on to my second deputation, and it's a lot shorter, but I have an idea for electric vehicle conversion course for the council. So I'd like to ask the council to support and to help establish an electric vehicle conversion course based in the college and with ancillary activities. Every day I watch the young person over the road from me tinkering with one of the family cars. He went to Kirklees College to do a motor mechanics course and improve his English and maths. He believes the students would be really up for this challenge. As we are well aware, the motor industry is changing rapidly towards electric vehicles, and I'm concerned that the young people may get left behind. However, I have a proposal that I would like the Cabinet members to support. We can set up an electric vehicle conversion course at Kirklees College with these students that allows them to be hands-on with the vehicles and future-proofs their careers. By establishing an electric vehicle conversion course, we can achieve so much. We can provide new skills for the students so they can get good jobs in the motor sector, stimulate the change of electric vehicles for those that otherwise could not afford to purchase new electric vehicles, enable more people to convert what would otherwise be a good ICE vehicle into an electric vehicle at a fraction of the cost, I might add, with local skills and knowledge being developed, and provide the opportunity to establish a start-up company with the students that can provide them with not only the mechanical and electrical skills, but also the business acumen to run their own businesses doing the conversions. The idea is not fanciful, and I am already in an early stage dialogue with a number of organisations, not the college yet, and one in particular that already run commercial courses on vehicle conversions. These vehicles are tested and obviously meet all the high standards for road safety required by the Road Standards Agency. What it needs is time to develop the business plan and course, the tools, equipment and parts, and some seed funding. We have many engineering companies in the area, so I would suggest this could be a collaborative showcase project, and I've talked to one of those briefly. So I hope the council will be able to support this, and thank you for listening to both of them.
Thank you, Gideon, for a comprehensive deputation on the two items you mentioned. Firstly, I think the first part of your deputation question falls into three parts. The first part is the installations that have taken place, and I'll come on to that in a minute. The second part is the types of hybrid, which I'm not going to profess or anybody in this cabinet to be an expert, and again I'll come on to that. And the third thing is the more sort of policy strategic approach that we're going to be taking. So firstly, in terms of installations, the two installations you mentioned, Southgate and New Street, we will look into that because I don't know the detail, and we will get back to you with that. And it's only fair that we have a proper look at what's happened, because, you know, it is a new area of work and we need to make sure we get it right. The second, in terms of hybrids and plug-ins, and, you know, I know Carol's got a hybrid car right, and I asked the question just the other day, and I learned something new. And I'm hopefully, in the very near future, touch wood, also going to buy a more greener vehicle. And it's really, really important that I actually make sure I make the right decision. And from what you just said, it's not as straightforward as just going in a showroom and buying a greener vehicle. So again, I think we'll get back to you regarding the detail of that, because we need to get it right. This is very, very new. We only adopted the climate emergency motion a year ago. A lot of work's been done by Councillor Robock and Councillor Naheed Mather and the Cabinet. So again, I'm not going to just jump in and give you a response, but we need a properly thought out response. And in terms of the wider network. You're right, and I thank you for commending the Cabinet in terms of its leadership in this area of work, because we were one of the first councils in the country to actually adopt the climate emergency. You mentioned Nottingham. I know the leadership in Nottingham. I work with them very, very closely, and I will speak to my counterparts in Nottingham, because one of the things what we want to do is we want to actually be very bold, and we want to actually take a lead in this area, because it is emerging technology, and it is the future, and it is one way to actually make sure that we actually safeguard the planet, which leads me on to the second point you mentioned in terms of working with the colleges and the education establishments to develop a conversion course in terms of how you convert diesel or petrol to electric vehicle. Again, I don't want to pretend to be an expert, but it is not as straightforward as people might like to think. What I've already done is I've asked my officers to actually provide me with the details, because we are actually wanting to go on the front foot in terms of whatever we can do, we will try and do. So again, I think best way forward is to actually provide you a full response. Officers are already working on this in terms of what's the best way to convert vehicles, and is it cost effective? Because there's no point in putting 2 or 3 grand in actually conversion when you can actually spend another few grand by doing a upgrade into a car. Peter, do you want to add anything?
Just a very quick one. The nature of the issues you raise, I could understand you wanted to highlight the issues important for the public. But in terms of an interaction with you, I think it's more productive for some of those things to be developed in a meeting. I had a recent one with one of your colleagues. Again, very productive. So I think there's got to be an understanding of how we can most effectively respond to ideas and suggestions that you bring forward.
Yeah, and Peter stole my thunder. That's what I was going to do. You've got expert knowledge, Gideon, and we want to make sure we tap into that. And it goes without saying, we want to actually use all the expertise we have locally. So thank you very much. We'll move on now, because otherwise we're just going to go into discussion. You've got a question as well, Gideon, or hopefully what I've said put some assurances in your mind that we want to work with you. If you've got a question, you're free.
Yeah, I had a written question, but I'll paraphrase it really. What I was looking for was if we can have clear understanding of what the policies are in terms of purchasing vehicles and how they've actually matched up with not just the capital cost of them, but also, obviously, I know you do running costs, but also the emission side of it as well now. So that's sort of where that was coming from.
Yeah, unless my cabinet members have got a policy now, I don't think we have. Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll go back to what I was saying. We need to actually develop the policy that's fit for purpose and right for the council. So again, we'll hopefully, this is a dialogue that we will have as we move forward out of these kind of surroundings. But you're right, we need to actually make sure the policy is robust and works for the council.
Sorry, just in a supplementary to that, because item 10 on this agenda is actually about the purchasing and the approval of moving things forward with electric vehicles. My concern is that we move forward in the wrong way.
Dave, do you want to answer to that in terms of item 10? Is there anything there that you want to relate to?
Well, actually, there's a cabinet report that I'd be talking to later on this agenda, which I'm sure you've already read because it's been online. So I'll talk to that report.
Is that okay, Gideon? Thank you very much. Okay, item 6, member question time. Any members want to ask any questions? Item 7, housing delivery plan update, Councillor Peter O'Brien.
Thank you, Chair. The local plan approved 11 months ago gives the authority and momentum to build 31,000 houses in the next 15 years. And it laid down policies to achieve a number of associated objectives. For example, at least 20% of the total be affordable, that we would aim to deliver extra care provision throughout the borough. We stated ever greater expectations for large sites on land that we owned, including master planning by local councillors and communities. We stated an expectation of delivering 10,000 in the first 5 years of the plan, and we sought to provide a significant number of houses using prefabricated manufactured units that would minimise energy usage. The report updates us on the strategy to achieve these objectives and provides another report of delivery. It shows how we've used our own land, worked with voluntary and private sectors to speed up delivery using some smaller council-owned sites, brought in grants from Homes England and from City Regions, Local Growth Fund, to ensure viability of the more difficult sites. The report shows exactly what we have planned for all of our major sites and gives us an update on success so far. The evidence is strong that the momentum of the plan and the delivery programme of the Council are quickly coming to fruition. In December, at one meeting of strategic planning, approval was given for 600 additional housing units. This shows how the Council is bringing its power and influence to bear to ensure that approvals turn into deliveries and to ensure that our social ambitions are realised in the execution of our planning. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Cathy Scott.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I welcome this report and the update. It's really interesting, you know, to see how our journey is going. And the 10,000 home commitment that we had by 2023 on our own land, 1,000 of which these housing was to be built. It's great to see that the big build, when we launched that there was 100 people that attended from different organisations across the borough. So to me that was absolutely fantastic. I welcome the news. It's about working with people, working in partnership, and it's also taking into account that place-based working. So well done, and I'd like to thank the office of that, and I second that.
Thank you very much. Are we okay to approve that, members? Thank you very much. Item 8, Q2 Corporate Performance Report. Councillor Graham Turner.
Chair, thank you. This is, as you pointed out, the Q2 Corporate Performance Report. Cabinet's been through this many times, line by line, and it's simply here today for noting.
I second that. Are we all okay to approve that? Thank you very much, members. Item 9, St Paul's Road, Murfield Supported Living Accommodation Development. Councillor Musrat Khan.
The purpose of this report is to update Cabinet members on key changes since the original report was approved in 2018. The regional scheme related to the disposal of the old Murfield depot site, for market value for Connect Housing to build 19 learning disability supported accommodation scheme. Since then, the design plans were shared with CQC, who made further recommendations to include provision for social care needs for 13 1- and 2-bedroom flats plus staff facilities.
Thank you. We've got a second of that. Okay, Peter McBride seconded it. Everybody okay with approving that report? Thank you, members. Item 10, Climate Emergency and Air Quality Next Step Electric Vehicles. Councillor Naheed Medhi.
Thank you. I'm delighted to bring this report to Cabinet. It is moving on from the cross-party working group on climate emergency. There's been a recognition that Kirklees Council has produced an innovative plan to reduce air pollution across the borough, and this report is supporting the ambitions that we have. So if you look at the report on page 61, point 2.5, it talks about the recognition of the programme of fleet renewal. Kirklees Council has in its fleet 30 electric vans, 20 electric cars, 30 hybrid vehicles, and it was mentioned earlier the mayoral car is a hybrid of what type. Gideon, I couldn't tell you because it's a technical question. Kirklees Council is currently installing 17 rapid electric charging points in locally, publicly accessible car parks. If we move on to page 62, the report is asking for a capital investment of additional £2 million in the budget to be put away to prioritise the expansion and transformation of public electric vehicle charging infrastructure in Kirklees. relaunched and expanding the council's free car parking offer for low-emission vehicles, bringing forward a further investment in the council's fleet to add a further 50 electric vehicles, developing a comprehensive electric vehicle and charging infrastructure policy, and implementing the air quality action plan, which is so comprehensive that it actually goes down to each of our wards, so that local members and individuals within those ward knows what implications there are for low emission and how we intend to go forward. And after the budget, I'm hoping to reveal some more information. Thank you. Can I support this report?
But you moved it, so so you want to support it at the same time. Yeah. So you want to propose a second as well. Sorry, that was a joke, man. Nahid.
Yes,
Rob?
can I second this report, which I also think is excellent and very progressive. Thank the officers for the work that they've undertaken on it. Linking back to the deputation, the points raised by Gideon, I think there's some good points there about the actual implementation of setting up the electric vehicle points. I'm not familiar with the one in Huddersfield, but certainly the one in Slathwaite in New Street. I do think we need to learn from the lesson of the installation of that point. I think there are a few issues. I think the early stages of this, there was some extremely good work with ward council members, but I think we need to make sure as we roll this out that as we move to the implementation stage, we're looking at exactly where these are going to go, that we do talk both to ward councillors and to other groups in the community who have got an interest and knowledge, which will mean that where we're putting these in, they are as effective as possible.
Thank you. Any more members want to?
Yeah.
Yes, Peter.
Some people might wonder, well, like, how's the speed of our reaction? And I think it's worth bearing in mind that all these infrastructure investments are very, very expensive. We're dependent and reliant on West Yorkshire's funding for these initiatives, who in turn are dependent on the government's investment. So we would like to roll out even more, but at the moment it's limited by budgetary factors, and which in turn is determined by the central government.
Any more? Yes, Nahid.
Actually, Councillor McBride, Kirklees could soon be one of the best electric vehicle charging network in the country.
Yes, that's good news. Any more? No, I think it's great news. This is the beginning. There is a budget process that we're actually going through. So there will be some things in the budget that we'll put in. I can't really say much about that at the moment because we need to go through due process. But I welcome the report, and are we all okay to agree that moving forward? Thank you very much, members. Okay, item 11 is linked to item 13. So the way I propose we do this is, I'm assuming that everybody's read the item in public, item 13. If we haven't and if there's any questions, then what I will have to do is I will have to go into private session and then go back into a public session. So before I do that, is there anybody who's got any questions on the private? I'm assuming that you've all read that and you're happy with it? Are we okay with that? Right, okay. Is that okay, Andrea? We can do that, yeah? So we don't have to go into private session. We'll now go into item 11. Peter, is that yours? Kathy, yours.
Thank you, Chair. The report comes to us for consideration of the option of directly delivering a future housing programme of mixed tenure for the council developments, including council housing. So in your report, if you refer to page 69, there's a 2.1.1. The joint venture with Bridge Homes, it sets out our capacity and forms the basis should we wish to take that option. So Bridge Homes have a well-established track record of delivering quality homes and to delivering affordable housing policies and its requirements. It meets its profits and targets when it's under valuation, and it's considered as a trusted partner for Kirklees. In 2.1.4, there's the principles that we've discussed about bridge homes and confirming their aims and objections. There are third-party open market value, and there's a red book valuation. The joint venture ownership of the LLP would be a 50-50 partnership, with each party being required to equally fund the company's development activities, with each required to provide an equity input of 2.5 million to 3 million to peak cash requirements and circa 6 million. This would ensure that an equal share of the risk would be a reward. To appoint the contractors and their consultant would be by competitive tender. But then there's the option that you should have within your paper packs, the options for the direct delivery. It's the opposite kind of model. Direct delivery model presents less complexity. Less complexity. I'm sorry, I've got a sore throat. On 2.2.3, the success of direct delivery relies on options of a number of key considerations, which they're set out there: resourcing, skills and capacity in the team. Now, in that area, we've looked at our strengths and weaknesses, so you have got your risk benefit and your RAG rating on 2.3.0. The RAG ratings are there. It's done a balanced view of this. Although Kirklees do not have a track record of building homes for sale, we do have a clear ambition, and as a place in making local authorities, we should provide a level of confidence in the quality of new homes that we build. We are building on our capacity, and we've looked at on 2.6.0, that's page 75, the risk sensitivities of the analysis for this direct delivery. It's a competitive market and there's many opportunities. We've looked at the market and done the analysis on the other peer groups that we have out there. The Sheffield has a housing company, and they did this in 2011. The company was a joint venture, and the funding was a joint venture partnership. It's not the same kind of approach that we're looking for, but the proposed HRA model proposed by Kirklees has no further comparison, so it's nothing like us. We looked at Leeds as well, their 5-year programme. There's Bristol also, and we also took into account Harrogate, York, and about how they transferred their assets and different things like that. Today, I'm asking Cabinet to go with the option of direct delivery by Kirklees Council ourselves. It's showing that we're prudent, and the reason why we're taking this, I'm giving this recommendation as Sat in A, is that we'd retain absolute strategic control over these assets and they belong to the council, would wholly influence the local place and the place-making exemplar of housing design. We're growing in our development and tenure and expertise, so as we recruit, we can only expand. Building a strong reputation and trust the local housing market. Delivering acceleration of new housing and delivering to meet local need and demand. We have that experience, we have that expertise, and we can establish a pace for the council's priorities in that. So I'm recommending that we select the option of direct delivery by the council. So I hope Cabinet supports me in that option.
Anybody second that? Thank you, Cathy. I think what you've just said, very, very comprehensive. The report is very, very comprehensive. The item in private actually explains the rationale and the business case very, very clearly. And you're right, the direct delivery option is the best for this council and for our residents. And we need to start putting pace back into our ambitions in delivering council housing. So are we all okay with that, members? Okay, thank you very much. End of meeting.